game day.
Welcome everybody to the next episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10 Live. You're here with JP and Nick, the Chiefs Insider. What's up, bro?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
I'm
Getting
okay.
ready.
Getting ready for this game. It's a little bit stressful.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of news floating around about Kelsey right now.
No, hold on a second. Hold on. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Hang
You're
on
fine.
a second. You got to pause. Hold on. Get out of there. Jesus
Nick's
Christ.
got a son, so
I got
he's
little
fine.
boys. Well, he's swimming today, so you know.
Yeah. We know what
It's
that's
almost
like.
85 degrees here in sunny Florida. So
Why don't you keep bragging about it?
yeah. Well, that's your fault. You're living where you live.
I know. It's coming soon. Anyway, a little bit of chatter about Travis Kelsey floating around.
Yeah, let's get the. Well, we always thought it was going to be Mahomes, but according to Jay Glazer, just reported that the last catch of the practice on Friday, he is back locked up. They did some shots. They did some physical therapy. He felt better yesterday, but he is truly, according to Glazer, and I have a pretty good idea who he talks to in the organization.
Yeah.
It's a game time decision. If Travis cannot run in warmups, then there's a real possibility that, I hate to say it, but the greatest tight end of all time might not be in this game, and you've already got question marks about Mahomes, though I think Mahomes is going to go scorched earth today anyway.
Yeah.
But with that said, this is a huge development now. The good news is Jordy Fortson's up. They've got Noah Gray. So they have some options there. They got guys who know how to run these kind of routes.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're looking for is open spaces. Now we'll change the way the Bengals, put their defense together, because right now it's all about stopping Travis Kelsey. And if he stops himself, it isn't 100%, then clearly he's not going to be 100% today. But, he's the toughest hombre I know that's on this football team. And, he was sick the last Bengals game. He had that key fumble. He's going to want to make up for that. So physically, he could probably endure. The question is, can he do some of the things he's going to need to do to help out Patrick Mahomes?
That's going to be the biggest thing. I think, we also have Blake Bell out there. We have a few guys that can step up. Now, this could be just something that's playing out for a ruse. We don't know that yet. So
I don't know. I think the ruse was Patrick Mahomes with full practice all week. I think that was the ruse.
Yeah.
Whether or not they can pull two off in a row. I mean, listen, Jay's as dialed into the Chiefs as anybody. I would put him second to none with his relationship with some of the higher ups in the organization. So I'm telling you right now, there's a real concern that they may have to not have 100% of Travis Kelsey, and that's huge because they're going to beat him up, bang him. They're going to hit that back. They're going to sweep Patrick Mahomes' leg. They're going to do all these kinds of things because that's the way the Bengals play defense. I mean, between them and the Jaguars, they're probably, in the Texans defense, they're probably the three teams that are more less concerned about, hitting a guy than some other defenses are. And listen, you got the Super Bowl on the line. You got Joe Burrow's reputation, Patrick Mahomes' reputation, Andy Reid's reputation. You got all these things that are riding today, and it's amazing to me, JP. I mean, I didn't watch any TV yesterday. I didn't watch any hype, nothing. So I get on this morning. It's all Burrow, Cincy. Yet, all these mock projections have the Chiefs at a 65 to 67% chance of winning. So, what does it all mean? It don't mean crap. If the Chiefs don't come focused, and I said this to you, Friday, Patrick Mahomes, to me, this is a defining moment. And what a defining moment it would be with a hobbled ankle, maybe not in 100% Travis Kelsey, and just throwing the ball to other guys like he has done so many times.
Yeah.
He did this last year, and he's done it all season long. Every one of these guys on this offense have made big plays and have been counted on to make big plays in crunch time when Kelsey hasn't gotten the ball. So you may see a lot of that today, but there are a couple of keys for the Chiefs to win, and but they're going to need to know where they stand with Travis.
I agree. I mean, we played 2 or 3 games without both Kelsey and Hill, and put up 31, 36 points.
Yeah,
40 points in
against
one
good
game.
team, against
Good teams. Yeah. So I mean, this is their defense is very. How should I say this? We've played 7 other defenses this year that are better than them by leaps and bounds. I think they play as you said, they play a little different, similar to the Jags, a little dirty, a little aggressive. They don't
I'd
really
say
care
aggressive.
so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go aggressive. They, as you said, they don't care about anything other than making the hit, and however
Right.
they hit. Which I guess if that's the way you have to play the game, it is, and that's how they have to play it. If they want to
Right.
win, they have to play the game that way because they don't have any real star talent. I mean, they got a couple
Well,
guys, but I mean,
they've
they
got
don't have a beast of a defense over there. They're
well
definitely
here
no Ravens.
they're playing the best defense of probably anybody right now in the NFL. Over the last 10 weeks, from a growth perspective, from consistency, I think that they have been in an aggressive position to make plays. And I think what makes them unique, obviously, they've got one of the best defensive coordinators who, for some reason, is not getting any interviews, which is just completely mind boggling to
Yeah, it's
me.
pretty strange, but
He's the best young defensive coordinator in the National Football League, and that's not even in question. But this is like a souped up no name defense from the Dolphins era. When they won that Super Bowl and they went
yeah,
17-0. This is the same kind of football team that you look at and you say, okay, you can name these guys. Not all of them are Pro Bowlers, but they've got young guys like the Chiefs rely on that are stepped up. They've got a good scheme, and they're a master of forcing opposing offenses to do things that, or to take away certain things, which is what they're going to do tonight. When they face the Chiefs, they're going to try and make Patrick Mahomes test that ankle and get out of the pocket. Mahomes is going to be tempted to be aggressive, and he's going to stay mobile. He may hop here and there. He may have to deal with the pain, but I think the thing that gives me the most confidence today. Now, again, this is based on everybody stepping up. You look at what he went through in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I don't think people understand how bad his toe was, how hurt it was,
yeah,
even with all the injections and the steel plate in his toe in his shoe. He ran what? Someone estimated 400 yards
yeah,
around in that game trying to make plays, and he made 3 spectacular throws that should have been 21 points that the Chiefs just messed up. They didn't catch the ball.
yeah.
Not that any of them thought the ball was going to get there, but at the end of the day, Mahomes put his body in a position, and he kept playing until the last snap. So
He did.
I think that's something that's going to be big, for him today. He wouldn't have done everything he's done to get to this point. But I don't want to discredit the Bengals defense because they have a plan. It works. It has worked on the Chiefs, but you look at all 3 of those losses. They hand the ball off to McKinnon at the end of the first half. That's 7 more points. The Chiefs win that football game. The couple of weeks before in Cincinnati, they had a mixed mash of umpire crews and referees. Unfortunately, the referee in that game is the same one as today. I don't think it's going to linger because I think most of the officiating has been pretty strong in the postseason. I think they've gotten the message that they're not to be the story.
Well, I think that and the fact that they've done that expedited review has been really helpful, especially with Schefter's crew and everybody. They've there was a lot of calls that were called or penalties that were called back due to challenges and also the expedited review from the booth. So I think that's huge.
Yeah,
that's a huge help. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I see Mahomes doing things that no one else has been able to do, but most importantly is he's, again, like you said, he's that guy that puts everything on the line. Mm-hmm. If anybody remembers, with his last high ankle sprain, he came out the following game, threw for 4 touchdowns and almost 400 yards.
In the second quarter. He would have had 5 if it wasn't for a holding penalty.
Exactly. So, I'm not so concerned with his ankle as I am maybe with, if this is the case with Travis Kelce and he can't play, that's a little concerning.
Yeah, but that's huge. That's a 6 points, 7 point swing. Easy.
It is. So we have to have somebody to make up for that. And I think Jody Fortson can be that guy. He's
right.
been a huge. Every time he's on the field, he's an impact. He's an impact player. You can't bring him down. He catches everything that's thrown his way. He's a little injury prone, but we've kind of grown accustomed to that, I guess.
Well, I think the key is, and I kind of said this during the Jaguars game, that the Chiefs are going to get the Super Bowl. It's going to be their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense is 100%. They got everybody back. They had a couple guys that weren't playing. They got the Johnson, the defensive tackle. I don't know, what other defensive moves they're going to make today from a roster perspective. But I think the young corners showed me something in the last two games against the Raiders and against the Jaguars, that they were willing to turn their head around to look for the football. That's huge. That's something that I think they practiced a lot. I think they're going to get physical. I think they're going to have to. The referees are going to have to watch very closely with Jamar Chase. He always pushes off.
Always.
He pushes off a lot, and it doesn't get called. And I think that's probably been a stress of practice this week. They had a pretty physical practice with a scout team. They're very aggressive with the receivers off the ball. I think that's something that's going to have to be key. But that young secondary is going to have to be key. But the biggest thing is Chris Jones. Is he going to get off the schneid? Is he going to get that first postseason snack, which is hard to believe? You're talking about probably one of the top 2 or 3 defensive players in the National Football League, and he's heard it too. And listen, he's had sacks in his grasp, probably 5 or 6 during that time frame. I think the key is with that injured offensive line, to play in Buffalo on the snow, it gives the advantage to the offensive line because the pass rushers have to get better footing, get around the edge or to do stunts and blitzes. And I think that's not going to be the case tonight, obviously. Chris can beat double teams against this team with that offensive line, which means Frank Clark, Carlos Dunlap, Karlaftis, maybe Mike Dana gets a surprise sack or 2. I think he's got the potential to maybe make a couple of things happen. And the linebackers have to be really strong. I mean, Willie Gay is to back up the nothing comment and just go out there and prove that, this offense is nothing. And again, the offense isn't overly complicated. What the Bengals do is they're just patient. They read, they take what the defense gives them on every single play. Yeah. And that's the difference. That's what makes them so good and what makes Burrow so good, because they have an offense that fits his style of play. And so for me, let's say Travis is 80% and Mahomes is 80%. The defense is going to have to get a couple of turnovers. They're going to have to make some third down stops. They're going to have to get in Burrow's face a little bit, just create a little bit of doubt. And they have the players do it. I think this defense is better than the Bills. I think the way they've been playing, since that Bengals game, and even that Bengals game, they didn't play poorly. No. They just had a couple of, Burrow's made some pinpoint, 9 out of 10 times probably isn't a completion pass.
Yeah.
Not to disrespect his talent, but you're talking about a window that's about this big.
Exactly.
And he threw a ball through it a couple of times to get first downs, especially the one late in the game. So, again, if the Chiefs defense plays like they owe it to Patrick Mahomes to carry the load, the Chiefs are going to win this game.
And here's the thing.
If they don't, it's going to be a long night.
I agree. And I think, with the Chris Jones situation, or any sacks for that matter, Burrow gets the ball out faster than Brady does. I mean, he has to. He doesn't have a choice. He hasn't had a choice for 2 years. He's been the highest sack quarterback for 2 years running. Right. So the secondary really has to step up, because if you can keep your wide receivers and your tight ends at bay, that makes Burrow hold the ball a little longer. The longer he holds the ball, the quicker the more chance we have of getting him on the ground. And I think that's something that the secondary really has to step up and do. Can we do that? Yeah, I think we can.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we can. The refs are definitely going to have to watch Chase, as you said. I mean, I noticed this year they have watched him a lot more. His numbers have declined, not simply just because of his injury, but because he hasn't been able to push off as much.
Right.
And they have called him a few times. Now, is this something that's going to continue? It has to. They have to continue to watch him, because that's made his career. It's made Joe Burrow's numbers in a lot of ways. So they have to really kind of keep an eye on that. I think that, if they can keep Chase at bay and keep the wide receivers and tight ends at bay, we're going to see Burrow on his back a few times tonight.
Right. That's the big question. I mean, listen, Chase is arguably, one of the best wide receivers in the game. It was a brilliant move to get him that high in the draft when there were other needs. I mean, everything that you watch this kid, and who knows what his numbers. What did he miss? 4 games, 5 games, or 5 weeks? So who knows what kind of numbers he could have put up? Chances are, but they still won all those football games. So that's the difference. And granted, some of those games were, were the Bengals fortunate to beat the Ravens. If Lamar Jackson plays that game, I don't think they win.
I don't think so either.
And if I'm Spags, in particular, I'm just the only game film I'm looking at is that one and the 3 games you played in before. Yes. And I would say, okay, what did they do? They got pressure on those young offensive linemen, and Burrow was rattled. And if it wasn't for the heroics of the 98, 99-yard, fumble, it's probably a different game. And a better quarterback probably ties that game in the fourth quarter, because we can diss Eli Apple all we want to, but he made the play of the game last year and stopping Tyreek Hill before he could get in the end zone on that ill-fated, not very smart play call instead of taking the 3 points. But they're going to be aggressive, it. And again, it's just going to be a matter of what they can do. The cornerbacks, if they turn their body, they turn their heads. If it's a perfect throw, it's a perfect throw. You might as well look at it while it's coming to you. Maybe you can get a hand up. Don't look at the eyes of the receiver or where his arms are, because if you put your hands up and you're not turned even slightly, then you're going to get a pass interference, and this is a pass interference happy crew. Yes. Again, I think the NFL will learn a lot more after watching the first game today. What kind of officiating is going to go, but I'm pretty confident that the league and the officiating crews have had conversations and said, hey, yes, protect the quarterback, but let the players decide who wins. Don't make a call that's going to affect the outcome of the game, because that's the last thing the NFL needs right now.
Oh, definitely. With all the turmoil they're in right now, they don't need that. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, man. There's been a lot of confidence. I guess I don't know if it's confidence or arrogance coming out of Cincinnati with their players and their fans. Mm-hmm. I think people forget that, they were the team 4 years ago that were wearing bags on their heads. I
Yep.
think they forget about that. But they're still not. It's been a 3-point swing in every game. We've blown 24-17 or 24-7 lead, 28 to, what was it, 28? I think it was 24-0 at one point. 21-10.
No, it was 24-3. Or 21-3.
Yeah.
And then, you're right. I think the first time in Cincinnati they were up by 21 points as well. Exact same
points,
score.
Yeah.
It's just a lack of focus.
That. Yeah, it is.
It's just a lack of focus.
It is.
But I will say, the talent level is better on defense than it was last year, and even this year.
Yeah.
You look at that. You look at that previous game against the Bengals, and there were some young guys who were right there. And took responsibility for it after the game. And they did sack him, and they did get pressure on him. The mistake the Chiefs made was they did too many all-out blitzes.
Yeah.
And what they have to do is they've got to say, okay, we're going to bring 5 guys, and our 5 guys are going to have to be better than the 5 guys that are up front. Exactly. And I think that's what they're going to – I think that's how they're going to be aggressive today. It could be a safety, it could be a corner, just like the Bengals are going to do to Patrick Mahomes. And I think that's one of the bigger things that I'm looking forward to. And as far as the Bengals, and their attitude and their swagger, listen, they're 0-3. 3 points separated all 3 games. There were 4 or 5 mistakes on both sides of the field. Burrow's made some mistakes in that playoff game last year. He could have had 2 more interceptions. Nick Bolton had a ball go right through his gut. And Burrow had no reason to throw that ball for any reason. And then that flips the field. Maybe it's a different game, and it could have done a lot of things. The problem was the offensive play calling and the bickering on the sidelines in the second half and at the end of the first half did nobody any good, and it stayed in the locker room and it came back out on the field.
Facts.
And there's a lot of reasons why they lost that football game besides the fact that Patrick said he choked and he didn't have to be provoked. That's exactly what happened. Maybe the only time in his career, but he's gone through periods against the Bengals in all 3 games where he's played poorly in a quarter or a half, and that's what I do not expect today. Even if he's 80%.
Yeah.
But the swagger, it's earned, and the fans, they had bags on their heads 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, until Burrow comes to town, and he had a pretty good rookie season until he got hurt. They were They were winning games down the stretch. Last year he proved that he could come back from an ACL that fast. I mean, I was shocked that he came
Yeah, I
back
was too.
in 8 months. He's got the right mindset. Is he the strongest quarterback? No. Is he the smartest quarterback? Probably in the top 2 or 3, I would say. He's the most physically gifted, probably in the top 5.
Yeah.
But he's just smart. And he's like Mahomes. He has a brain that processes defenses. And, they expect to win. They believe they're going to win. They think all they have to do is come to Kansas City. Kansas City has all the pressure. The line on the game has gone from, plus 2.5 to minus 2.5 to now I think the Chiefs are plus 2, which makes sense. Now the line will change if Kelce doesn't play. I mean, I would expect this is going to be a pick-up game, before kickoff would be my guess, because I think Vegas is going to be a little nervous if Kelce can't play. But again, we're tuning this live. We don't know what's going on yet. It's still 3 hours to kick, or 3.5 hours to kick off. So, we don't really know what's going on. But I have no problem with the Bengals swagger or their fans. I mean, even the mayor stuff, if you want to put yourself out there, go ahead. Again, it's all meaningless and it's all kind of stupid, It
is.
And the Chiefs have kept relatively quiet. I mean, they've said 2 things, the Willie Gay comment of nothing, and Chris Jones, saying we'll see you Sunday at Burrowhead.
Yeah.
And that's it for the most part. And I can tell you though, from what I've heard, that inside that locker room, they're aware of what they're saying, what's going on.
Oh, 100%.
And they know that, I think some of the stuff was a little personal. I think it was unnecessary. I think it was immature. And normally coaches and players, they'll address it or they'll talk about it. But I think this took it to a different level. Listen, I talked to enough people who said last Sunday, all they want is the Bengals back at home. That's it. They want to. And they wanted to avenge last year's loss. They didn't care about the regular season loss. It didn't affect them. They're still the number 1 seed. It made no impact on their season, other than some young defenders got some experience against Joe Burrow that they're going to need, tonight. So let them talk. The Chiefs aren't going to let that affect them. They know exactly what they have to do. And the fact that Andy's been basically at Arrowhead for 6 days and nights, I'm exaggerating, probably 4 or 5 at least.
Yeah.
But, he's going to cook something up. And if Kelce's not 100%, then, they've got a couple of young tight ends and they're going to have to integrate them into the offense. And those are going to be, some matchup problems as well, because they're physical tight ends. They can block. But this does affect the Chiefs' ability to have, 3 tight end sets if Kelce isn't as effective or can't play. Now, it's one thing if he's ineffective because they're taking him out, but still to have 3 tight ends on the field, is a good thing for Kansas City, which I think they're going to do a lot. And this is going to force them to run the ball. That's going to be key.
It is. And I think the fact that we've got McColl coming back on a pitch count is going to be helpful. You're going to,
For the guy I've been dogging for like 2 years, I'm thinking if they can add him today.
Oh my God.
I mean, he's been working on special teams. Yeah. I think they'll do a couple of gadget plays. I think there's going to be a trick play today, and I'm not going to spoil it. Yeah. I'm not going to put it out there. And I think I know who's going to do it. But I'm confident that Patrick Mahomes will not be the only person who throws a touchdown today.
I kind of had that feeling myself.
Just saying.
Weirdly enough, I kind of had that feeling, and I also, I will say that I think if you see McColl on the field in an offensive perspective, you're going to see Tony on the field at the exact same time.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see those two together on the field, you better watch out, because that's a mismatch nightmare. I mean, no matter.
Yeah, I just got a feeling that we're going to see something.
Andy's got something in the mix. I mean, there's no doubt about it. There's something they've been working on that I know about. I'm not going to say what that is. Yeah. But they've been working on a couple of plays that I think it's going to throw some people off. And when they do run these plays, if they have to run them, the one thing I know about Andy is they will work on them, but if they don't have to run them, they will not run them.
No, they won't.
They will not run them. I mean, Andy will stay as vanilla as he can possibly stay for until he needs to do what he needs to do. So,
maybe. I think the first half, the goal is get a lead,
They need
And
to.
the
They
second
need to
half
keep the
is
lead,
to
though.
the second half is to do what they did in the first half. Again, they're not going to make the mistakes. You're not going to have certain wide receivers no longer on this football team.
Exactly.
Get into it with another wide receiver who was basically wide open the entire game.
Yeah.
You're not going to have the issue with whatever the relationship is between Eric and Andy and Patrick. I mean, everything, all that stuff is gone. There's no more distractions. Everybody knows their role and their responsibility.
Yeah.
Nagy's been a really good quote unquote influence on the offense and with Patrick, and that's helped keep him steady and focused as well. So
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are in the right place mentally, emotionally. They had their close game last week. They lost their star. He came back. He fought through it. They have a backup quarterback who can, score points.
Yeah. We found
It's a
that
little
out.
different offense. It's a little different thing. Now, not having Kelsey is a problem for Chad Henne, but I never doubt anything's possible with Henne. I just don't doubt it, just because he's just so savvy, and he's done it 2 playoff games in a row and
Yeah.
helped the Chiefs win divisional round games. So we'll just have to wait and see how it all shakes out. But the Kelsey thing, let me check. I'll check my
I don't know
phone
if anything
here.
has changed. I've gotten
I
no
don't.
texts.
I haven't gotten anything yet either. Let's see here. Nope, nothing yet. So I
I
don't.
text 3 people right now, but I think I'm not probably not going to get anything right now.
No, I
But
don't. I
I
don't.
should get
I
something
don't
in the
think
next
so.
hour or so. So I'm
Let's
hoping
see
so.
here. Let's see. Nope, I don't really see anything new. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, this is still a few
Again.
hours before kickoff, so we're about
Yeah.
3 hours and 15 minutes away.
I have a weird feeling, and I haven't gotten a text. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see about Kelsey.
You think it's gamesmanship, don't you?
I do. I really do. I really do. I know what they wanted to do with Mahomes, and they didn't allow it. They didn't do it, and I was really surprised that they didn't do
They
it.
couldn't do it.
It's
I
true.
mean, they couldn't do it because he was as close to 100% and didn't have any restrictions. Now,
Yeah.
what kind of plays they ran and what kind of things did they do? I'm still scrolling here. I don't see anything new. What kind of things did they do? Remains to be seen. But again, I just, when Sunday and Monday came, I thought they got no chance to win this game. I'm a realist, and I have
Yeah.
gut instinct. I told Emily, my wife, I said Saturday morning when I woke up last Saturday, I said something's going to go wrong today. I didn't think that they were going to lose, but I had this sense that there was going to be an injury that's going to affect this game.
Yeah.
And I opened my mouth and I said, God, I hope it's not Patrick. Well, of course.
So it was your fault.
So it's my fault. I take full responsibility. So Tuesday, I started to get some messages, and Wednesday that he was in a lot better shape, and that he the injury wasn't as bad Sunday when he got up, and
Well, he was at
then
the
we
facility Sunday.
right,
So,
and we
I mean,
learned that it wasn't as severe as what happened in Jacksonville to open the season a few years ago. Now, granted, it's a different ankle, it's a different plant, everything is completely different.
Yeah.
And then he's 100%, and then he's not even on the injury report, and I started to think, okay, I think they got a really good chance. And Thursday came around, I'm like, man, I don't see how they're going to win this football game.
Yeah.
And so Friday, I'm just like, okay, I'm feeling really good throughout the day. I hear about the Kelsey thing, and I get a message, as you did, it's just a spasm. It should be okay, And then it was like Saturday, I was like, I feel pretty good, and today I just feel really good. I mean, I think that there's too much to lose with a loss today. I mean, there's already going to be enough shuffling of coaching staff and players in the offseason. Brett Veach already has a plan. Andy's already got a plan. Obviously, they're not focused on that. They got 2 more games to play.
Yeah.
But I just think that they're in a place where they understand what's at hand. They understand what's at stake. Everybody doubts them. Now, I mean, the mathematics of it all say the Chiefs are going to win. I said earlier, every prognostication from a computer standpoint has the Chiefs in plus 60%.
Yeah.
But, that's still 40%. And you and I watched football games where the opposing team had a 1% chance to win, Chiefs being in a couple of them.
Yep.
And they win those football games. So, who knows?
Well, I know, if you look at any of the analytics from like Cynthia Freeland or any of those, they all have the Chiefs winning. Now, as far as I think a lot of it just has to do with clickbait and the controversial style of what people want to do.
Right.
But in the same aspect, looks like Philip just made it to the stadium.
What's that?
Philip, he's on the chat. He just made it to the stadium.
Okay, good.
So make
Good,
sure
good,
you
good.
bring the noise. But I think, we are a better football team. No matter how you look at it, we're a better football team all the way around. They can say the Bengals are all day long. I don't believe they are. Strength of schedule was a huge thing with me. And I'm looking at their strength of schedule versus ours this year. And it was hands down night and day.
Well, first 9 games, up and through the bye week, that was the toughest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
But, I'll play devil's advocate. The AFC North is similar to the AFC West, to be honest with you. The West sucked.
It did.
And the North, for the most part, sucked. And the Ravens had every chance in the world, but Lamar Jackson wants a contract versus going out there and playing for his team, which is a big issue, which might be why the Ravens are very interested in Eric Bieniemy as the possible OC and assistant head coach.
Yeah.
That being said, so they had a lot of close wins, but the Chiefs had a lot of close wins.
Yeah.
The Chiefs have had some key injuries here and there. They've had some suspensions, at bad times.
We lost a player that we needed on special teams. I mean, over illegal issues.
Don't get me started on that one. I'm not even going there.
Yeah.
But that aside, off the field issues or not, they have. It's just an odd. It's an odd situation. I mean, I think the best move was yesterday when the Chiefs, put Perine's cousin on the practice squad when they signed him.
Yeah.
So you think those two guys are going to talk? Yeah, probably so.
Yeah.
You're looking at a playoff check. And a potential Super Bowl check. You better keep your mouth shut. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But so there's been a lot of gamesmanship, this week, which I've really enjoyed. Andy's been very salty.
I will say this, Nick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but everybody I have talked to said they have never seen Andy upset. Like, he gets upset about a play. He gets upset about, but he doesn't get upset about what another team or fan base does.
Mm-hmm.
This has got him riled up. And I don't think I've ever seen him riled up about what another fan base has said or done. And he proved it in some of his press conferences. I mean, he was pretty damn short. Some of those guys, I mean, they asked ignorant questions. I'm not going to say they didn't, because some of them were just stupid. But in the same aspect, when Andy never cuts people off like he had during that week,
right.
And he just, I'm not answering that. Next. I mean, he was done with all the stupidness.
He was salty.
Man,
I loved it.
Andy,
I mean, it's like the end of the press conference on Friday. He puts that quip out. Yeah, it was great talking to you guys every day.
Yeah,
he was
exactly.
on the podium for a minute and a half. He's not going to answer any questions.
No.
Patrick's not on the injury list. Is he going to play?
I can see Andy right now sitting. That day, he had his book out, his playbook, and he went, okay, page 14, page 29, page 367. Because I promise you, this man is trying to find ways to make up things right now, to just bring the hurt. And I hope he does. I mean, I hope and as you said, I mean, all the internal bickering and all of that, offensively and defensively, is pretty much gone.
Right.
We've got a great defensive line coach that, man, I love. He has turned this defensive line around. In fact, he's turned the entire defense around. This is not just a one position spin. He's done a lot for this entire defense.
Right.
I think he's made Spags realize that, being aggressive and not playing the quote unquote, I guess, bend don't break style and mindset, which he had for a little while, it seemed like. Let him get the yards, but don't let him score.
Right.
Type of situation, the Bob Sutton mindset.
Yeah.
I don't think that worked out real
Don't
well.
don't say that word. You're not allowed to say that name today. Delete. Delete.
Well, I mean,
Delete.
honestly, I mean, hey, man, and you never know. Look, if Spags decides to retire next year, if things don't go the way it should go this year, you never know where Cullen might be next year, and within our organization.
No,
I've
I know
heard,
exactly where Colin's going to be next year.
I do too. I do too. I don't want to really bring it up too much, but I
No, we're not
think I
going to
know
talk
where he's going to
because
be.
that means we're talking about next year, and
Exactly.
I mean, I just got invited to Lee Steinberg's Super Bowl party, so I'm just like,
Look
I
at
really
you.
want to go. I really want to
Yeah.
go. So we'll
Yeah.
see. Crossing our
Yeah.
fingers.
We'll see what happens. But
I'm
I
not
don't know,
name
man.
dropping. I've known Lee a long time.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, I tell you what. If we pull this game off and get it done, move on to the Super Bowl. I have a feeling, and I don't know about you on the NFC side, but I have this sneaky suspicion that the 49ers are going to win this game. Even with Brock Purdy.
I don't
think
even know.
they're
I'm
gonna
not
win
watching the
this
game, so I have no idea. I don't even know what the
I'm not
score is.
either. But
All right, let's see if there's a score.
yeah.
Oh well. So far, that's not happening. Just
What
so
is
we're
the
clear,
score?
it's 7-0 with 9:48 left in the first.
Oh, well,
So
that's not so bad. That's not bad.
No.
It's not like a blowout, so I'm not too concerned with that.
No, not yet. Not yet.
No. But I have a feeling, I don't know why, but I have a feeling they're going to win this game. They have, man, Christian McCaffrey is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That kid, he amazes me every time he steps on the field. And I got to say that was probably the best mid-season acquisition I had seen in a very, very long time.
I agree.
I don't know that another team could have made a move that intelligent. Now, the
Right.
Brock Purdy talk and everything, look, any quarterback is going to look decent, if not good, in a Shanahan system. We know that. He makes quarterbacks win.
Yeah, in the regular season, the postseason, until you get to the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Yeah, then it's different.
Correct. But I got to say, Purdy has done a pretty good job. I can't complain about what he's done.
No, I think they're in a mess for next year.
Yeah, if they get to the Super Bowl, what are they going to do? I mean, you don't want to go after Brady and pay a guy
You're gonna let
for one season.
you're gonna let Garoppolo go. Brady's gonna go to the Raiders. It's stupid. It would be the dumbest decision of his career. And I have mad
agree.
respect for the GOAT. I have mad respect for the GOAT. But it's a terrible head coach. It's a terrible organization.
Yeah.
They're not going to beat Mahomes and Andy Reid.
No.
You know, he'll be 46 years old next season. They have some, and you got their star running back who doesn't really want to come back. And now Brady probably be able to change his mind, but they aren't going to pay him and pay Brady.
No.
You know, they already paid Waller.
And they got Adams too that they paid.
And they got Adams.
Yeah.
You know, they've got some other guys on defense who are free agent. And, you know, as long as Josh is coaching, and I don't care who he is at quarterback. And listen, he was one of the architects, but that was Bill Belichick.
It was.
You take Bill Belichick out of the equation with him, and you got an average coordinator and an average head coach.
Exactly.
And that's all that they are. So, you know, as far as the 49ers go, see, I disagree with you. I think the NFL wants the Chiefs and the Eagles. You got Kelsey versus Kelsey, which is going to be a media sensation. They're going to ride the bank with, you know, their New Heights podcast, which is by far, no disrespect to ours, is the best.
It's the best podcast on the planet.
Best podcast. I can't wait till they have Andy Reid on in the offseason.
Oh my God!
You bank it.
He's going to be
on the show. And you've got Andy Reid going against Philadelphia, and you've got the number one. You got the league MVP playing in the Super Bowl. You know, this is where the Chiefs started their season way back when. You know, they talked about it then. You know, we hope we're back here for the last game of the year. I think the NFL wants the Chiefs and the Eagles. I think it's the best draw. It'll be the highest rated Super Bowl in quite some time.
Yeah.
The Bengals and the 49ers, probably not the same. I think the best game would be Chiefs versus Eagles.
Oh, I agree.
I think the AFC has an advantage in this Super Bowl, just based on they've got the kind of coaching staff and the talent that I think can overcome, you know, a young head coach. Now, listen, what he's done in Philadelphia has just been incredible. Yeah. And, you know, God love him, and he's come out of nowhere to kind of prove that, after his disaster press conference when they hired him,
Yeah.
that he knows what he's doing. And Jalen Hurts is a great young quarterback. He's exciting. I think he would have been the MVP if he had not gotten hurt, just because of what he's done game 1 through game 17.
Yeah.
Patrick has had some lulls, but Patrick has expectations on him that are far greater than anybody. But I mean, the fan base in Philadelphia is one of the largest, one of the best,
and one of the toughest.
And one of the toughest. And we had some run-ins, but I think that's what the NFL wants. I think it would be a terrific Super Bowl, and I don't think they want a rematch of the Chiefs and the 49ers, because the Chiefs will be 7-8 point favorites.
Yeah,
easy.
They will be.
Maybe
they
10. It might be a double digit.
Yeah.
But listen, I think that again, that's getting ahead of ourselves. The Eagles have to win today. The Chiefs have to do their part tonight. And we'll just have to see how it all shakes out. The good news is, either at 9:30 tonight, I will be placing a Fanatics order, or I won't. So there you go.
Well, I will say
Free plug, guys.
Yeah. With Philadelphia, their fan base is tough on their own players. They're not so much. I mean, who cares what they say about other fans? And they're the type of fan base that, look, if you lose, we're going to throw shit at you. That's just what we do. We throw rocks, we throw books, we throw beer cans. We hate you, and we'll leave the stadium halfway through the game if you're down that far.
Right.
We don't have to worry so much about that, but the fan base there is huge, and they are diehards no matter what, to a degree. I mean, I think they overstep their bounds with some of the things they say about players and coaches, but I mean, that's the reason why a coach and a certain quarterback is no longer there. But you can beat somebody down that way just as easily as you can pick them up. So I don't know.
Yep.
It would be a great matchup, the Chiefs and Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. That would be phenomenal.
It'd be great.
I don't know if the NFL has that much pull on who wins or loses this game. I guess they could, but or who plays in the Super Bowl. But that's not going to play. That's not going to bode well with the fans if that's
right.
But in the same aspect, it would be a great Super Bowl. I feel like San Francisco has a better squad. They're better coached. I feel
I don't know if they're better coached. I mean, they've got a head coach. He's crapped in his pants. I mean, look at the Super Bowl, against Brady and the Patriots, and look at they were up 10 points, and against the Chiefs with 7 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And they lose that football game by 8 points, 9 points?
10. I think it was more than that.
Yeah. So
31-20, so 11-point game.
So I mean, they just, I don't know. I think Kyle Shanahan's is one of the best coordinators, one of the best offensive minds, in the NFL. But again, we're not watching the game because we're doing this, so who knows what we've missed. But I think it's important to note that in the postseason, coaching matters.
It definitely matters.
And what happened last year on the sidelines was the coaching mattered. It was too many distractions. It was listening to the quarterback instead of doing what the head coach needed to do, was to get 3 points at the end of the half. Yeah. There were other things going on. Play calling was abysmal in the second half because they didn't make it. No adjustments made. Yeah. So again, when you got a guy like Kyle Shanahan, he's riding with Brock Purdy because he has no choice, and he's done a terrific job in simplifying the offense for him. And he's a great story. How he was Mr. Relevant is beyond me, because I had him rated like a 4th or 5th rounder coming out of college. I watched this guy at Iowa State, and he just was lights out. He beat everybody. I mean, he just beat everybody like a drum. Some good defenses in the Big 12. So, but he didn't really come from the program that develops, high stake Super Bowl caliber, quarterbacks. No, is he the next? But he's still got to prove himself. And next year they got a big dilemma on their hands. I don't know what they're going to do in their quarterback situation, but I know
they could save a lot of money sticking with him if they wanted to. I mean, they could save a lot of money.
Well, that means you're giving up on a quarterback that you gave up 6 draft picks or 5 draft picks.
Well, I'm saying with those two guys and not bringing in,
the Trey Lance trade was the dumbest.
It was,
I think, in organizational history for what he has not produced. And thank God they didn't jettison Jimmy Garoppolo last year, or those wins that he had early in the season.
Yeah,
Wouldn't be there.
I agree. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I mean, they do have the
See what happens.
number one defense, quote unquote. Everybody's got a number one defense depending on their strength of schedule. I mean, if you look at it, there's 5 teams out there that have a top 5 defense, or
Right.
10 teams that have a top 5 defense, and it's all because
Right.
of their strength of schedule. So I don't really put so
Right.
much emphasis on that unless they were playing such a diverse schedule
Hmm.
that
Right.
that would make sense to me. But
Right.
to put him number one, I mean,
Right.
they've had the Bills at number one this year. They've had
Hmm.
the Broncos at number 3 this year. Where they win 5 games. So I don't know. I don't really put that much emphasis on statistics when it comes to that because, again,
Right.
it all depends on strength of schedule and who you're playing.
Yep.
You can be number one all day long if you're playing
Doesn't matter.
crap teams.
Yeah.
So
I mean, everybody touted, their team, the team that was hot,
yeah,
all these comparison with the quarterbacks. And, that's the thing I think, kind of going back to what I said earlier about, kind of watching the pregame stuff. Michael Irvin's the only guy who looked at all these people who kept saying, even if Burrow wins today, he's the better quarterback. And I was like, what has he done?
yeah,
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
he's got an AFC title game. He's got a division championship. Even if he beats Mahomes today, does he have a Super Bowl win? No. Has he been in the AFC title game 5 times in a row? Has he won a
Hosted it?
league MVP?
Yeah.
League MVP? Has he won a Super Bowl MVP? He hasn't. And again, he's the flavor of the day. Tua was better. And Josh Allen, we heard all in the offseason, oh, he's better. The Bills are geared. They got Von Miller.
Yeah,
They have all these things.
yeah,
And all these teams. Oh, the Ravens are going to be a tough out for the Chiefs. And then the Chargers and the Broncos and the Raiders. And at the end of the day, the 2 best teams in the AFC and the 2 best quarterbacks are playing for the right to go to the Super Bowl. So, who's better, who's not better, it's irrelevant to me. Listen, you and I, we're old enough to know and remember that, I remember, the 70 Super Bowl team or 69 Super Bowl team. I remember, high-fiving Lenny Dawson at the Municipal Airport when I was a kid on my dad's shoulders and Lamar Hunt and Hank Stram, who was one of my neighbors, and Bobby Bell, my neighbor. And it's just like, and then I waited 50 years
yeah,
for another one. And the Chiefs fans in the Mahomes era, I wouldn't say they're entitled or spoiled, but they have an expectation that fortunately they have a quarterback who's willing to take on, and that's rare. And Burrow has the same thing in Cincinnati. I mean, they haven't been good since Kenny Anderson, maybe Boomer Esiason.
yeah.
They were terrible with Dalton, but they kept winning divisions and going to the playoffs and losing in the first round. Andy Dalton wasn't a terrible quarterback, but
He
Burrow
just wasn't
is
the guy that gets you over the hump.
Burrow's the guy who can get you over the hump.
Yeah,
Now, so if he gets them over the hump today and they beat the Chiefs, and then we're going to have to hear for 9 months until they play in Arrowhead next year. And thank God that game's in Kansas City.
yeah.
The Bengals are going to make it 5 straight, and they're going to expect to do it. So that's why today is for Patrick.
It's
This is a
defining
legacy game.
It
I
is.
heard Kurt Warner picked the Chiefs today, and he said, he goes, we could be talking about the Mahomes game today. We could be talking about this is something we're going to remember forever. I mean, look what he did last year against Josh Allen. They found a way to win the football game.
Yeah, 13
And
seconds.
you're telling me that, again, if Kelsey is able to play and the spasms are gone and he doesn't tweak his back any further, then they got a good chance, to make the plays when they have to with those 2 guys. Now, on that, the focal of the offense is going to be 20, 30, 40-yard bombs. It's going to be moving the sticks and relying on an offensive line to pound the rock.
I did get a text, and it said,
Yes.
it said expect him to play.
Okay. Well, I
So,
can't
we'll see.
imagine he wouldn't.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's feeling better or if that's just him going to play through it. I don't know how he could, but
Oh, he's going to play through it. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
the question is, do they hit him in the back? They're going to put a ton of padding back there, which
guarantee
will slow him down. They may even put a flak jacket back there. I wouldn't be surprised. They're going to be working on it constantly. He'll have reduced snaps, but play him when you're in the red zone if you have to. If in 3rd down you need and they may use him as a decoy. I mean, if Hardman plays, and Tony, who missed the game last time, plays at a level that we expect, he still hasn't really had a breakout game, though he did a little bit against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the first meeting. Then that's going to be pretty big. But we're just going to have to just see.
I think Tony's going to have a huge game today. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, but Tony and
yep.
I think Tony's going to have a huge game. I think he will.
Right.
He's picked up the playbook so quickly.
Right.
I was blown out of the water, and everybody I've talked to said, "You would not believe what this kid does and how quickly he's picked up the playbook." And nobody expected it. Nobody expected that out of anybody. I mean, when it comes to Andy's playbook, but he picked it up quickly. Mahomes loves him, so.
And they have 3 more years of control. Now he'll probably get an extension, not the year after next, but it affords them the opportunity to maybe, decide what they're going to do. Again, I don't want to talk about the offseason. I'm not going there.
I mean, look, they got decisions to make, but right now, the focus is today, and the focus is the Super Bowl. Yep. So we gotta stick to that route. But
see what happens.
We'll see. I have a good feeling about it. I've had my ups and downs this week, as you have. I actually had a strange day yesterday about this. I was stressed out to no end about this game yesterday, and I don't know why. I mean, I felt like I needed to take a Valium, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here, man? I was confident all week, and then today it just kicked me in the teeth. And my wife asked me, she said, what the hell's wrong with you? And I said, this game's got me all fucked up. And she goes, what? And I said, I don't know. She goes, you've been confident about it all week. I said, I know. I don't know what has happened today. And it just had me thinking. But now I'm back on track again, and I think things are okay. I think we're going to win it. I would love to see a 14-point or more win. But again, I just want to win. So I don't want a 3-point win. I will say that. I do not want a 3-point win.
I don't care.
I mean, I want us to win. I'll take the 3-point win.
I don't care.
I don't care
if it's a Butker field good from 58 yards with 1 second left for a 1-point win. I don't care. It's irrelevant to me. Yeah. You just go win the game. Now, again, what's the plan today? What's the desire today? How much can they overcome these 2 injuries?
Yeah.
But again, JP, it boils down to the defense. If the young corners and safeties play well, Justin Reed has been phenomenal since that Bengals game. He's played like he's played better than Matthew has ever played in his entire time in Kansas City, between tackles, coverages, blitzes, knowing where he's supposed to be. So we'll definitely see. Well, it looks like Brock Purdy leaves the NFC Championship game with an apparent elbow injury. So there goes the 49ers.
Who do they have?
I have no idea.
Who's their? I mean, they're down 3 quarterbacks. I don't think they have another one.
I don't know. I'm not watching it live, so I have no idea here. Let's see here.
They got to have an emergency quarterback or something.
Yeah, I don't know if he's back in or not. It doesn't really say. So again, we're not watching it, so we'll see.
Wow. Wow. Well, that sucks for him. I mean, I feel bad for the kid because he's done so much for himself and the team. I kind of wanted to see him succeed. He's a humble kid. He looks like a little 12-year-old when you're watching him, in his pressers. But he goes out there and he plays hard, so I hope he does well. I hope he gets through it. I see him starting somewhere next year. Whether it may not be for the 49ers, but he will start somewhere next year because he's done enough this year to prove himself.
No, they got him under. They're not going to let him go.
No, and it may be there he starts. But in the same aspect, this kid, honestly, is better than probably 10 other quarterbacks in the league right now. If you really think about it, he's better than a lot of quarterbacks in the league that are starting. So I would like to see him do something. Josh
Johnson is the backup quarterback, so he's officially questionable. I have no idea. So he's officially questionable to return. Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, that's going to kill him.
Eagles are already up 7-0, and looks like they got the ball back. So wow, that's huge.
That's huge. That's a monster hit.
Yeah, that's that. Well, I mean, they didn't activate Garoppolo, so maybe in hindsight they probably should have just tried to anyway, even though it wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Wow. Well, I don't know. This game's got it's got legacy written all over it. So we'll have to see what happens.
We'll
Again,
either do this later. We'll either do it later tonight or in the morning. We'll see
yeah, one of the two is going to happen. So
right.
if it depends on if it's how this game turns out, whether it'll be tonight or tomorrow morning. But
you got it.
Anyway, remember everybody, check out Foco Sports. Go to our pin tweet. Go to our website. We just released a new triple threat bobblehead today. It's sick. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's Travis, Mahomes, and Juju, all three.
Love it. Got to have that. Yeah, absolutely.
So make sure you go to the pin tweet on our Twitter page or the website, ChiefsFocus.com, PrimetimeSports.com. It's all over the place. You will find it, and click on it and get it while it's here, because the last two have sold out within 15 minutes.
Yeah,
One sold out in 7 minutes, Nick. 7 minutes, it was gone. I mean, these guys had pre-orders in, and I made the mistake of posting it early, not knowing that it was not released for another 2 hours, and people already had their name in the hat for it and didn't even know what it looked like. So these things are they're flying off the shelves. Plus, we have all the NFL gear you need. Man, there's 11,000 items on there from any team, any sport. It doesn't matter. It's all licensed.
Great
Just
sponsor.
pick it up.
Love having them.
It really is. They're great. So check us out, and keep your fingers crossed. Stay confident, and we will talk to you guys soon. Peace out, everybody.
Soon. All right. Take care, guys.